5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. He's brought to you by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Now, here's Tom Silverstein.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. We're here post the bye week. Did you have a good bye week?
Oh, I did. Yeah, me and the family went down to Disney World. Well, I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, as you know. But my wife is from Wisconsin, but I got 6 girls and my son, and we all went down there, and we had a great time. So,
all right.
We had a lot of fun.
What was your favorite ride?
Well, actually, the Slinky Dog ride at the Hollywood Studios or whatever, I really wanted to get on it because that was my son's favorite ride. I'm not really a roller coaster person.
You're a little afraid.
But, right, because I'm scared of heights and elevators. Right. But I got on a few of them. I mean, I'm a big Space Mountain guy, but for the most part, I just like to see the kids get on them because that gives me about 20 minutes for them leaving me alone.
Sure.
Yeah, just go ride, leave me alone.
Just go stand in line.
Yes.
Yep, perfect. Well, we've had some time. Now we're back at it. Time off, and now we're back at it, just like the Packers were on Monday. They had their first practice. And, one of the things that struck me watching their first practice, the little bit that they did let us watch, was that all 53 guys took part.
Okay.
I mean, that's as healthy as you can be going into a bye week. And I think health of the football team has been a big story this year, don't you?
Well, I think so. I mean, most teams, are a little worn down. I think for the most part, you were looking for help and you didn't necessarily get it. You saw teams who are going to get worn down or with some injuries, but you saw Minnesota coming back from a 20-0 deficit. And then you see some of these other teams, the Dallases of the world, the Saints getting back on track. The difference between a lot of those top 4 teams is health. Yeah. And I really believe that. If your players are available, you're going to win some games you're supposed to win. You may lose some games you're supposed to win. But ultimately, if you have all of your weapons on offense and defense and special teams, that's what's going to separate yourself in November and December.
Yeah, and that may be a key part of this game coming up against the San Francisco 49ers. 9-1 49ers versus 8-2 Packers. 49ers have been kind of beat up lately. Yeah. They've been missing their tight end, George Kittle, who will probably play this week. Their 2 tackles have been banged up, Mike Glinski and Joe Staley. They lost one of their edge rushers, Ronald Blair, and their middle linebacker, Quan Alexander. Those are big losses. And I think they lost Jimmy Ward for a little bit in that last game against the Cardinals. So they're beat up, but they've done a pretty darn good job of filling in and winning where they had to. The only loss was against Seattle.
And that's the game they really should have won, but ultimately they were down 16-0 against Arizona and found a way to win. I think it comes back to the quarterback, Tom. When we look at Jimmy Garoppolo, what do you see? A guy who was very promising, got hurt last year, had a bad knee injury, and was able to sit out and come back. And he's really put them in position to make a run, but he's also on the list of quarterbacks that's going to give you an opportunity for an interception, and you have to take that opportunity. And I think these 2 teams are a mirror of themselves. They look exactly like each other on offense. They've 2-headed monster at the backs. They got one particular receiver that's good, Sanders, who they went out and got from Denver.
Who is also hurt.
Who is also hurt. And they like to get the ball out to speed guys, and we're going to talk about that later in X's and O's. But I think for the most part, you bring up a great point. If you're healthy, it really separates you from some of the things you can do. Yeah. Because what San Francisco has done, if they're missing linemen, they'll put in linebackers to run some of the same games that linemen would run. So I think it's something that America has wanted to see for a while. That's why they flexed it. And there's some correlations here somewhere because, you got family members.
Yeah, I mean, let's address that. There's a lot of connections between the 2 staffs.
Yeah, parallel.
A lot of them have been together. It starts with Matt LaFleur, Packers coach, and Mike LaFleur's younger brother.
Now, they wanted to bring him here, and they blocked it or
They
something?
did, yes.
Allegedly?
No, that's fact.
Okay.
They tried to hire him from San Francisco, and Kyle Shanahan said, nope, we're not letting you come, not for a job where you're not going to be calling the plays.
Okay.
Because he would be doing basically what he's doing in San Francisco.
Well, that makes sense.
And I don't think there's a lot of bad blood there between the two.
Right.
Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers coach, is Matt LaFleur's mentor, one of his mentors.
Yeah.
And they've been together in Houston, they were together in Washington. So you have that connection, Kyle Shanahan and Matt LaFleur. Mike Pettin, the Packers defensive coordinator, hired Kyle Shanahan as his offensive coordinator in Cleveland.
Really?
So he knows Kyle Shanahan intimately. And Mike LaFleur was part of that staff in Cleveland. So there's all kinds of, you can go on and on and on.
Sort of like when Mike Holmgren played with the Packers, he went back to play San Francisco. He coached against Mariucci.
Exactly, or George Seifert.
Or George Seifert, even worse.
During those years. You know, and Bill Walsh was still involved in those
So you
years.
say this to say these are the games you want to win personally.
Yeah, I think so. But, you also have to think about, okay, I know what you do, but you know that I know what you do.
Yes.
So now that you know that I know what you do and you know what I do I try to stop what you do, or do I, do what I do?
Seattle allegedly say they got some calls or some tips from what Garoppolo was doing. I don't know if that's true, but one of my best friends, Steve Young, he knows I know the West Coast because I go against it with Brett Favre.
Right.
So if he goes to Jet Lion, I know that call.
You know what that is.
But it could be a dummy call. So they it's like a chess game when both teams run the same thing and the terminology is similar formations. Oh, I know what the tendencies are. Because my tendencies with San Francisco, because Shanahan's been the coach for a few years now, I kind of know what he's done. With LaFleur, he's only got like a 10-game window of what he really likes to do, but ultimately they know his system and what kind of way he likes to do in certain instances.
Now, the X factor in this is that I think LaFleur's system is not his true system because he's put in a lot of things that Aaron Rodgers likes to do.
That's a good point.
He can continue to kind of develop that aspect of it. He's got a guy who has vast experience, and there's a lot of things he can do at the line of scrimmage, and I wonder how much of that will come out in this game.
Yeah, and I think it may come out in the running backs. These are 4 running backs with Coleman and Breida, and you got Aaron Jones and Williams. They kind of mirror each other, and they use kind of the same way. Both coaches like to use both guys, screens, draws, get out on the perimeter. That's what I'm looking for, the battle of the backs. And you mentioned George Kittle. If he can play, the Packers have traditionally had problem with pass catching tight ends. So if he can't play, then the backup kid, I think Dweller or whatever his name, he had 2 touchdowns. So it'll be fun to see the chess match, to see, how can you move forward. But if you're a guy like Bosa, going against Ladarius Smith, those are kind of, things you'll get a chance to see, because if you win this game, you're on track to be the #1 seed.
Yeah.
At least be in the conversation.
You got a chance to win out. Your last.
San Francisco's schedule is very hard.
It's brutal, yeah.
It is hard.
They play Baltimore after this.
Right.
And then they have Seattle once more.
Yeah.
And I think they have Arizona again. And I believe, do they have New Orleans? They might have New Orleans. Anyway, they have a tough schedule, and the Packers have an easy schedule. I mean, after this, they play at the Giants, Washington, Chicago, at Minnesota, which will be probably for the division, and at Detroit.
Because Minnesota's 8-3, and they're going into a bye. But this is what Matt LaFleur teaches players: go 1-0. Don't take your opponent for granted, because we saw what happened with LA.
Yeah.
That makes me think that the travel schedule, I mean, I had an issue with the travel schedule because when you change it, Tom, it gives people like you, the media, think like something happened in LA. And nothing happened, they just got beat. I don't know about going Saturday, you'll be more focused.
Yeah, but I think they're just going back to the normals. The normality is to leave on Saturday.
Well,
There's no reason to leave on Friday, especially now that it's a night game.
Well, yeah, but
why do you need to go early?
To get acclimated to the surroundings.
Acclimated
I think
to what?
It makes sense. The time change, the food.
That's no
You know,
big
I want to
deal.
get away from the weather. I want to go down to the beach.
I do you're the problem. That's why you guys lost to the Broncos. You got all fat and happy in San Diego.
But we also went to San Francisco in 1995 and destroyed them.
Right, but that was after you.
I'm mature enough
when you
not
were
to
coming
get
up.
in trouble.
Oh, you guys!
I'm a grown
if you guys
man.
wouldn't have been on the beach the whole time in San Diego.
Black people don't even go to the beach, so it don't. But you know, I'm joking. But I'm wanting to say that they can be focused in the travel. It doesn't matter if you're all pro. You're all pro in every area code. That's just the way I see it. But I understand there's a difference. But the overall game of it, I think that both defenses has areas that they need to clean up. Because the Packers doing this bye week, what are you working on? Stopping explosion plays. Stopping plays over 25 yards or more. Stopping plays over 40 yards or more. You have to do that because Jimmy Garoppolo is going to throw deep twice per quarter. That's 8 times. They only want to hit 1 or 2 because they're thinking, watching film, that's where all the big plays are going to be down the field. So you have to limit that. On offense, you have to stay with the running game. Even if you get down, Tom, stick with the running game. Stick with the running game. The running game, the Aaron Joneses of the world will get you back into it because you'll be able to pop these 8 or 9 yard runs. The safeties will come up. Then Aaron Rodgers can go deep. So this is a game I'm really much looking forward to.
Okay. Yeah, I think it will be interesting. I think it'll be one matchup I'm interested to see is Devontae Adams and Richard Sherman.
Yes.
Sherman is early in the year. I think he was playing really well, and then this last Arizona game he had 3 pass interference penalties. He and Adams have battled before, and that's a good matchup.
It is a good matchup.
Something to watch. And will San Francisco let Sherman try to cover him one-on-one?
And I would say Bosa going against David Bakhtiari would be another one.
That's a good one, yeah.
Because the way Bosa's brother played, him and Ingram played in L.A., they really get after that offensive line.
Yeah.
So, and you got to protect Aaron Rodgers. If you protect Aaron Rodgers, it's areas in that secondary that you can exploit.
Yeah.
But if you don't, protect him, it's going to be the same thing like L.A. You're going to be just running all over the place.
Right. And for the defense, they'll see a lot of misdirection, a lot of screen passes. We'll show in X's and O's some of the setups that Kyle Shanahan comes with, and they're just
I like the
really
play I like the play that you picked out because it shows your keen eye for misdirection. I don't think people, when they watch the game, I don't think they look up for stuff that you were looking at, like what are guys doing away from the play to set up the next play. That's a good call sheet. And as a defender, Tom, what was difficult for me is when the offense moved. If a guy went in motion, set, and came back.
Yeah.
If a guy line up trips over here and they shift, the trip goes to the other side, and then one of those guys moves.
Right.
That's difficult. If you come out and line up and you never move, we can dominate you. The San Francisco offense is an illusion of what's going on. And it's kind of a head scratcher in a way because they don't really feature anybody. They just feature the plan.
Right.
And that's a good plan.
Right. That is a good way to put it.
Yep. So it'll be fun.
All right, so let's go to your prediction.
Well, there's no surprise.
That's for sure.
Well, listen, 1995, we go out and we beat San Francisco and put us on the map. We end up losing to Dallas in the championship game. But I'll point back to this game to say we put us on a national stage. I think that's going to happen for the Packers.
Okay.
It's going to be a high-scoring game. The Packers going to win 31-30. Both quarterbacks may have 400 yards. I don't know.
Good.
But ultimately, you have the best kicker You know, I mean, well, Robbie Gould, if he plays, I don't know if he's available or not.
I don't know either.
But it don't matter. Mason Crosby, the reason why I brought up Robbie Gould is because Chicago needs a kicker.
Yeah.
Chicago needs a kicker.
Yeah, they do.
But if it come down to kicking, Mason Crosby will win it on a walk-off. But for the most part, they have to not turn the ball over. And Aaron Rodgers is the best in the league, has not turned it over. So I think they'll win by 1 point.
Okay.
And I want to thank Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. I actually went there the other day and lost like $13 or something like that. So
well, that's not bad.
Going back to get that.
Yeah.
So I'll come back and get my money.
All right.
But I want to thank them. And again, salute to Service Month continues. That's why I have this on. I love our servicemen and women. Thank you. If it wasn't for you guys, we couldn't do this show. So I appreciate it. I also want to thank Bill Schultz for showing our great graphics and always making us look handsome on this particular video. So
all right.
So stay tuned for X's and O's, though.
Yep, and we'll see you next week.